What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer, and today I'm going to go in depth with all the details we have for the upcoming Overwatch reveals and announcements, which will be made during Gamescom 2018. It's coming up very soon, but apparently Blizzard is being a bit more secretive this year than they have been with Gamescom in the past. They've already confirmed details regarding the date and time new content will be announced this year, but additionally there are a number of clues which seemingly point out exactly what we'll be getting. So I'm going to delve into everything both confirmed and speculated regarding this year's Gamescom event. If you enjoy this video, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more in the future. But without further ado, let's jump right on in. To start, let's take a look at the hard facts. Blizzard has announced that their Gamescom presentation will kick off with a live stream on Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. for opening statements, followed by the Overwatch new content reveal at 11:15. However, there's just one catch. These are in the local German time zone, meaning that for those of us living in America, the opening statements will be at 3:30 a.m. US Central Time, with the Overwatch content reveal starting at 4:15 a.m. Now, I certainly won't say that this is unreasonable, since Gamescom itself is located in Germany. Also, given that Blizzard often prioritizes making announcements during times that favor Americans, this is a pleasant change of pace for the many European and other non-American Overwatch players who have had to put up with late night or early morning content reveals and announcements in the past. And if you don't want to have to get up at ungodly hours, then never fear, because I will be making videos covering all the important details and reveals, so you're free to watch those, which I'll be uploading promptly after the live stream itself. Now, the main reason I bring up this non-American friendly time change is because of how unconventional it is compared to what Blizzard normally does. Last year at Gamescom, the Overwatch announcements began at 6 p.m. German time, which was 11 a.m. US Central Time. This time seemed reasonable for both Americans and Europeans, so why would they change it so much this year? Well, the answer I think requires a bit of speculation, so I'm gonna put a pin in it and come back to it a little later on in this video after I've finished covering all the verified info we have. Anyways, as for what exactly is going to be revealed on Wednesday during Gamescom, Blizzard has once again done things a little differently. According to their website, their official statement regarding what will be featured during the Overwatch portion of their announcements is simply new content reveal, followed by the statement, join us to find out more about what's new in Overwatch. Now, the reason this is a little strange is that in the past at Gamescom, Blizzard has been very upfront with what kinds of new content they will be presenting. For example, on their 2017 schedule, they straight up said that there will be a brand new Overwatch map and a new Overwatch animated short. Given that for the past 2 years now, Blizzard has presented a new Overwatch map and animated short at Gamescom, with Eichenwald and The Last Bastion being in 2016, and Junkertown and Rise and Shine being in 2017, one would expect this trend to continue now in 2018, but perhaps that won't be the case. The fact they mention new content reveal means that something significant will be announced, but perhaps it'll be different from what's been featured in the past. Again, this is moving into the realm of speculation, so I'm first just going to wrap up the facts before we venture there. Beyond the new content reveal, later in the week there will be multiple Lucio Ball challenges where the German Overwatch World Cup team will be playing Lucio Ball against members of the Gamescom audience, as well as a German Overwatch voice actors panel on Friday. I won't go super in depth with the times of each of these, so if you're curious about what time you can check out these other events, I'll have a link to the official Blizzard Gamescom schedule down in the description. As for watching the event, everything will be live streamed by the official Blizzard YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch pages, which again I'll include links to down in the description. So that wraps up the official information we have currently. However, there is still quite a bit we can deduce regarding what hasn't been officially confirmed. First up, let's return to the ambiguous new Overwatch content reveal that is supposed to be taking place early on Wednesday. Even though it hasn't been specified by Blizzard, I am entirely confident that this will be, at the very least, a new quick play and competitive map. For those of you who have seen my videos in the past, I'm sure you've heard me mention something that I call the Overwatch content release cycle. This cycle dictates that every month there is a new content addition to the game, being either a new hero, new map, or event. And the September content additions have historically been new maps, which so far have always been announced at Gamescom and then released to live servers in early to mid-September. Based on this ongoing content trend, I firmly believe that we will end up seeing another new map in September, which means that, once again, Gamescom will be the perfect opportunity for its reveal. So then, what about the other major form of new content we've historically gotten at Gamescom, being animated shorts? While I do still think it's incredibly likely, I'm not convinced that it's as definitive as the new map. Animated shorts, as amazing and wonderful as they are, aren't quite as important as actual in-game content updates. If it came down to Blizzard only being able to either release a new short or a new map, hero, etc., they would always go for the latter. Of course, it doesn't work exactly like that with regards to how all these things are developed, but given that Blizzard has simply announced that there will be a new content reveal, that could mean that they're revealing 2 things, 10 things, or only 1. If it is just the 1, then I think it will be a new map instead of a short. However, as I said, I do think it's more likely than not that we will be getting both, but I just want to curb your expectations by saying that it's not guaranteed. So please don't feel quite so sad in the unfortunate scenario where we don't get one. Anyways, assuming we do get a new map and short, what exactly will they be? I made a video recently going over the most likely locations for new Overwatch maps, and I'm sure we've all got our own personal list of heroes who we'd love to see featured in a short, but there is one hero and location in particular which I believe have a legitimately strong chance of being the ones, with quite a bit of evidence to back it up, and those are D.Va and South Korea. The first thing that some may think is pointing towards this is the official Blizzard Gamescom poster for 2018, which features D.Va as the sole Overwatch representative. However, this isn't necessarily indicative of anything, as while it's true that Bastion was on the poster of 2016 when they revealed Eichenwald and the Last Bastion, in 2017 the poster featured Pharah, who was in no way associated with the reveals made that year. So the 2018 poster alone isn't proof of anything. But if we jump back now to early May of this year, Blizzard released a Korean-only developer update video where Jeff Kaplan talked directly to the South Korean player base. In this update, he mentioned some surprises which would be coming to Korea specifically this summer.
Also, there's some surprises coming for Korea specifically this summer that I'm really excited about, and we can't wait to engage with you and your community more.
This statement is fairly vague, and for all we know, he may have just been referring to the Summer Games Busan Lucio Ball Arena. But this all gets much more interesting when we look a bit further. You see, at the same time that Gamescom is taking place in Germany, South Korea is going to have its own Overwatch-oriented convention called the Overwatch Fan Festival. It covers the same days as Gamescom, but despite Blizzard's long history with attending the German convention, many Overwatch developers, including Jeff Kaplan himself, will be attending the Korean Fan Festival instead of Gamescom. Now, I've done a good bit of digging, and unfortunately haven't been able to find a whole lot of information about this fan festival event. Despite my best efforts to translate the Korean website, I haven't been able to find any specific information regarding whether they plan to reveal a new map or short. But according to their website, it looks like they're going to be premiering the new Overwatch Nerf and Lego toys there, which makes me really mad since the event apparently won't be live streamed at all. Hopefully anything big they reveal here will also be announced through Overwatch's social media or even concurrently at Gamescom. And speaking of which, remember this strange time change I pointed out regarding when Blizzard is going to be making their announcements at Gamescom? Well, if we take a look over at the Korean Fan Festival, the timing of Blizzard's announcements at Gamescom just so happened to coincide perfectly across time zones with the scheduled events taking place in Korea, meaning that both conventions will likely be making the exact same announcements concurrently with each other. This is why Blizzard shifted away from their normally targeted American audience this year. They're going full throttle with their presentation to South Korea. And if they're already going through all this trouble, making the announcements at a non-American friendly time, having their top developers skip Gamescom in order to attend the fan festival, using D.Va as the Overwatch representative of their Gamescom poster, and Jeff Kaplan himself having gone on record saying that big surprises are coming to Korea specifically this summer, I would be shocked if the new content being revealed, be it a new map, animated short, or both, isn't itself related to South Korea. All this on top of the fact that players from all over the world have been desperately wanting a proper South Korean map and more story for D.Va makes it seem incredibly incredibly likely that this is what we will be getting. We will, of course, though, just have to wait and see to know for sure. It's possible that we'll get more specific details regarding both Gamescom and the Fan Festival over the next few days, and if this is the case, then be sure to check the pinned comment down below for any update details. However, for the time being, my expectations are to get a new Diva animated short and Korean map, which will not only continue the new content trend we've seen over the past 2 years, but also to help represent and celebrate the Korean Overwatch player base. Could things turn out differently? Of course, but this is the strongest lead we have right now, so let's keep our fingers crossed that it'll be what we get. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to leave your thoughts about Gamescom and everything we know so far down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and turn on notifications to both help out my channel and keep up with all my future Overwatch content. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.